Well, joining me now is Graham Davies. He's a political presentation coach and has worked with senior figures preparing for sessions such as these. And this one, Graham, is a kind of biathlon, isn't it, for the two leaders, because they've got two different formats. The interview with Jeremy Paxman, but first a live audience. So how do you prepare for that?
Well, it's a biathlon with only two presidential-style contenders. Because of Theresa May's specific choice not to have a head-to-head combative debate, effectively, it's almost like that old television programme, Gladiators, where instead of them going head-to-head in direct combat, they in fact have to go up against proxies provided by the TV company, with this time Faisal Islam and Jeremy Paxman taking the part of Scorpio and Wolf.
And also meeting the public, and it's a bit like actors never working with children and small animals. Politicians working with real people, always a bit of a tricky moment.
Well, there has to be a level of spontaneity when you're dealing with the public. But on the other hand, though, what they'll have to have done during the course of their preparation process is prepare what I call golden nuggets. And they're short sentences which are clever, concise and compelling rephrasing of what they've already been saying for the last 3 weeks, but hopefully not lapsing back to the tired campaign cliches.
Because the problem with the risk is that the audience reacts and says, oh, we've heard all that before.
The reaction could be a groan and a moan, and they've got to see if they can find a way of saying something new, but without coming out with anything that's totally new and unexpected.
Now, let's just talk about the two leaders and their performing styles. Mrs May, I don't know whether you've been coaching her, but she's certainly taken a leaf out of your book saying, keep on repeating what you want to say.
Yes, but you can't repeat it so much that people get tired of it. Certainly the Linton Crosby view is that right about the time when commentators and journalists are starting to sneer at a particular slogan, that's around about the time when the public is starting to absorb and receive it. But I think this time the public are getting that much more sophisticated, and they have to be very careful not to do that.
There was an academic study which showed that even by the standards of politicians, I think the average answer the question is about 46%, just under 1 in 2. She's down at 14%, I mean 1 in 8. Is that a problem that she doesn't tend to answer the question?
I think people like her genuine stability. People do dislike her possible rigidity under pressure. But one thing you can't change are people's innate personal characteristics under pressure. Her great strength is her stability. I think that Jeremy Corbyn's weakness is his lack of stability under pressure.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because, I mean, Jeremy Corbyn is a man, he's been in politics a long time, but he's by and large been a rebel, and he's tended to speak to friendly audiences. Now he's meeting a wider cross-section.
Yes, he is, and he also has to cope with the fact that he's largely disassociated, detached from the rest of his parliamentary party. So whether he likes to be an individual presidential candidate or not, he's been thrust into that position. It's been a deliberate ploy by the Tories, who virtually projected Theresa May as a rock star. Theresa May and her support band, the Conservative Party. Because
they wanted to get Jeremy Corbyn out there.
Indeed so. They want to expose him as an individual.
And how do you rate his performance so far in this campaign?
Well, his great strength is also his great weakness. He's very transparent. When he's under pain, under pressure, you can see it. On the other hand, when you see Theresa May, she can look a little bit concrete-faced, is the phrase that I'd say. It tends to suggest that if she ever leaves politics, she's got a great career ahead in poker.
I mean, what we get is that Jeremy Corbyn sometimes, particularly when he's asked about defence matters, just sounds a bit weary and fed up, whereas Mrs May tends to sound a bit crosser than that. Which one works better with the public, do you think?
I think people like to see genuine emotions. Jeremy Corbyn does feel pain when he's cross-examined about his rather uncomfortable past, with perhaps saying things about the IRA. Theresa May feels pain when she's actually questioned about whether she cares enough. And so, actually, I think that the exposure of genuine emotions is probably going to be a good thing for both of them. Now,
what about the giveaways? Not so much what they say, but how they say it, their body language. What have you observed so far?
Well, there is a gap between sometimes their verbal indicators and their physical indicators. What they both tend to do slightly is to have what I call precursor phrases. Jeremy Corbyn's managed to get away from them in the last few weeks, but what Theresa May tends to do is that she says a precursor phrase, if I could say that myself, just before she says something significant. Her favourite is, let me be absolutely clear about that, which gives her 2 extra seconds of thought before she comes out with a precise wording of something more significant.
But on balance, people seem to find her quite a chilly figure, which may be good in choosing a Prime Minister, whereas they find Jeremy Corbyn quite sort of cosy. Would that be fair?
Well, I think that, of course, remember that the issues have focused very carefully and very precisely on this particular general election to who's going to be the best Brexit negotiator. A warm, cuddly, jolly, upbeat dinner party guest may not be the best person to get the best deal for us from Brussels, and that, I think, probably suits the Tories.
OK, Graham, thank you very much indeed. Great analysis there. And